Hi, I'm Dave Waddell with the King County Art Hazards Project, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about how you can become exposed to the toxic metals and other materials that can be contained inside art products. Today we'll be looking at some paints and pastels and what kind of risks you may face there. So the first thing I do when I'm looking at tube paints is I'm looking on the back of them to see if I see the AP symbol. This is from the Art Creative Materials Institute. And AP means it's been approved by a toxicologist at Duke University as being non-toxic. So I see the AP symbol on this, and I know it doesn't contain any toxic heavy metals. The other thing you can look for is the CL label. And the CL label is the caution label. And this means it does contain a toxic, typically a metal, but it may contain a flammable solvent or something like that. And this particular one, this is bismuth yellow, but it contains a nickel compound. And all nickel compounds are known carcinogens by inhalation. So the good news is this is an acrylic paint, so it's in a water-based medium, which means there's no dust to inhale. So unless you try snorting this material, which I don't recommend, your risks from the nickel compound in here are quite low. One way you can be exposed to the nickel in here, though, is if you apply this product and then let it dry, and then you decide to sand it, which would generate some new dust. You really want to make sure you're not breathing in that dust. Now these color auditions compounds or paints that are being used have incredibly tiny letters on the back, have a warning on it saying, warning, this product is known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. This is from California's Proposition 65, which requires that any products sold in the state of California must be evaluated against a long list of potential carcinogens and reproductive toxins. And if it contains any of them, they have to put that warning on it. So one of the things to look for when you're buying a product is to see if it has the AP symbol or the CL symbol, or if it has the California warning saying it contains a cancer agent or a reproductive toxin. Those would be compounds to see if you can find an alternative from the caution label ones or the California ones that don't have those warnings, which would indicate it's a non-toxic product and a safer one to use. So we're talking about being careful to read the label to make sure that there's not a toxic ingredient in here. But if you do have a toxic ingredient like nickel or cadmium or chromium or lead, at least it's in a liquid form, so you're not running much of a risk of inhaling those metals and having them get into your bloodstream pretty readily. That's a whole different thing when we're talking about pastels. Pastels can contain exactly the same toxic metals that you would find, and as you can see, dust comes off them very readily. So when a pastel artist is using toxic metals on their artwork that they're creating, at the end you're going to have a lot of dust on top of that. The danger is at that point they take a big breath in and they blow that dust off and immediately take a big breath in after breathing out hard. All that dust goes up in the air and there's a chance that they may be breathing it back in. One of the ways you can protect yourself against dust is by wearing a dust mask. So if you're using a more toxic material, you can use a dust mask. Some dust masks are not particularly effective. Anytime you have a dust mask that just has a single strap on it, like this one here, these really are not considered to be effective. You notice there's no real information on here that's telling you how efficient this is either. This other dust mask, you can see the N95 on this one. That means that 95% of the particles that are in the air will be filtered out of this dust mask if it's on nice and snug. Now this has a little metal band that you can bend around your nose. You want to flare it out a little bit down on the bottom there because your nose bends out. And you want to have these straps on pretty snug. One of the problems with this is these straps are not adjustable. So I have a fairly large head. This fits me fairly snugly. But if you have a small head, this may not. The best dust masks, similar to this respirator, have adjustable straps that adjust it tight on the top and adjust it tight on the bottom. And something like this with the rubber seal around here actually really snugly fits. Now if you have a big beard, it's not going to do particularly well. And these are rated N100, so this is completely absorbing any particles that are coming in. This is what we call a HEPA filter, high efficiency particulate filter. So if you're working around dust, while you're working with it, wearing a dust mask like this or a half mask respirator like this one is a good way to prevent yourself from breathing those dusts in. And then if you're going to shake off your pastel artwork, either do it outside or shake it off over top of the trash can while you're wearing this mask before you do any of that blowing off, to try to capture most of that dust in a spot where it's not going to get up where you're breathing it in.